Hi mommies. Today we're gonna get a mommy rant video. And I was just thinking yesterday about something. So last week, I'm just gonna jump right into my life. And it's kind of lame because this is kind of what my last mommy rant was about, but bear with me, it takes a different direction. I was so busy last week. Surprise, right? We're moms, we get busy. But I just feel like everything in my world collided last week, and kids were sick, and I ended up getting sick, and just so many things to do. And so I poured every waking moment into finishing all these projects, taking care of kids, doing all this stuff. And it was just super busy and super stressful, but I wanted to get it done before we were going out of town for Labor Day weekend. Ding! Go check out our vlogs. And I got back, and just some of the things that I had worked so hard on to get done and get finished, I didn't complete as well as I'd wanted to. It's like I worked so hard at them that I just wanted everything to flow perfectly because I worked so hard to get everything ready and put together. And things weren't perfect. And sometimes I get super perfectionisty, and when I drop the ball on something, even something so small, and the anxiety that I have kicks in. And that was one of the triggers that I noticed that kind of influenced me to talk to my doctor about the possibility of having anxiety, is because I would get really overwhelmed over the smallest things. And which I talked about in my depression and anxiety video. But this time the same thing kind of just happened. It was just one day, the day we got back, I wasn't done with one project. Another project I found out that it didn't go as smoothly as I wanted while we were out of town, and I just got really emotional about it, and the anxiety really heightened. And it was really hard for me to take on. And of course, I love to do all of these things. And sometimes I think maybe I took too much on myself, but at the same time, I don't think I did. These were all things that there was like one thing that was extra that wasn't normal, but I had committed to it like months ago. And it just happened to fall when everything else in life got crazy, and then we just randomly decided to leave town, and so that pushed everything even further up on the calendar. Anyway, my arm's getting tired holding the camera. But it really heightened the anxiety for me, just knowing that things didn't go perfectly. And in my mind, that spiraled into, I let people down, I'm not dependable, I don't carry out my responsibilities well, people are gonna judge me for that, And so I'm like driving around, running errands in my car, and I'm like crying, and my kids are like playing in the back seat, and it happens. And but I went to a meeting last night, and someone gave a presentation on getting through the hard times, and she mentioned like a quote of a quote kind of a thing, so I can't really like trace it back exactly, but what she said really stuck out to me no matter who said it. But she said, you can help people the most with their trials when you are in the midst of them yourselves, because you can really sympathize with them more because you're going through it. And so she talked about some of the things that she'd gone through. And she was like, you know, when people talk to me about going through the same trial, I can really sympathize with them, but it's also like a trial of my past. And so I feel like I was able to help people a lot more when I was actually experiencing that, because I was in the heat of those feelings myself. And so I felt like I was more influential. And so that got me thinking about my anxiety and depression, and that part of my goal in sharing that story with you here is to be able to help. I think my take on it is very small. I know there's a lot of other people who struggle with anxiety and or depression more severely than I do. And so sometimes I kind of feel silly talking about it, because I know that I am not the worst case scenario. And so why should my story matter? But this lady who presented, you know, addressed that too and said, why shouldn't it matter? And so that was just one more thing to just push me, that made me think, you know, I really should share what happened to me. This was just yesterday, and you know, where the anxiety's built up and everything. And then she gave that presentation. It just made me think, you know, to share with my other mommy friends that this just happened yesterday, and the anxiety's built up, and it was very real, and it happens. It's, you know, I feel like I'm more comfortable talking about it when it hasn't happened for a while, but I need to be more comfortable to talk about it when it does happen. And I'm working on doing that with Clayton, with my husband. I'm trying to open up to him more when I have episodes and let him know. But at the same time, I try really hard to not turn him into my therapist and drag him down with me. But I really am working on sharing with him when it does happen and not bottling it all up, because I have seen how that has taken an effect on me before, where I've bottled it up too much, that things have gotten really bad. And so I just thought about that, and I said, you know, if I really want to help other moms out there who may be struggling with depression and anxiety, to let you know that when I do sit here and talk about it, and I sometimes put a big smile on my face and laugh it off, and you know, this is just something I talk about, but the anxiety hit me yesterday, and it is something that still happens. It's, thankfully, I've gotten it to a point where it's not happening daily, so that's good. But I do still have times when it happens, and I do still have to carry on with my life when it does. And those of you that have been there know what I'm talking about. And sometimes I feel like I expressed it in my other videos, you know, being a mom and having to deal with those things and having a hard enough time being able to take care of yourself sometimes, and then having to take care of your kids, whether they're little like mine or they're teenagers. Once you find out you are pregnant, or once you have enlisted to adopt, or whatever your parenting situation may be, it never ends. You are a mom for life, and it is a whole new juggling act between taking care of yourself and taking care of those kids, no matter what the situation may be. But I'm working on this for myself and putting that message out there that it is important to take care of yourself as well. And struggling with the whole anxiety and depression thing, sometimes those days are just a little bit harder to take care of yourself. But I decided to be brave and share that with you tonight, that it still happens for me. And this isn't just some past tense thing that I talk about hoping that someone will benefit from my past, but I'm hoping that someone can benefit from my present. And I know if you ever watch WatersWife vlogs, they're going through a really hard time right now with having lost their son a couple of months ago, I believe it was. And she just posted today how she still has really hard times, and people are starting to like give her flack for expressing those hard times. And I commend her for doing that. I can't imagine being in that situation, much less opening the door to let other people see that you are going through that. And I admire her so much for that. And so Amy, if you are watching, your mothering story is a lot different than most, but I think you are a very strong mother because of the route that your role as a mom has taken you. And so if you haven't checked out Amy and her husband and their sweet little Beckett, go check them out. But so shout out to Amy. But I just got thinking about that too, that like we shouldn't be frowned upon for expressing our emotions when they happen, whether they are happy or sad or angry or depressed or whatever they may be. So hopefully I've helped someone with their present situation by talking about mine, and that we can be happy sometimes, but sometimes it's okay if you're not, and to learn from those moments and to grow from those moments and not be afraid of those moments, but to let them happen. So there's my mommy rant for tonight. One take. Sorry, this is what happens when I don't edit. I can't even realize how many pauses or how many ums I've dropped on you guys, so I apologize. But sometimes when you do a one take, that happens too. Imperfections happen, like ums and pauses. So anyway, I hope that even made sense. I had all these thoughts put together and I've been like rehearsing them in my head. They didn't come out as good as they did when I was talking to myself 2 hours ago, but I hope I helped somebody. So thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you next week. And don't forget to love your littles and love yourselves, no matter what type of day or experiences in life you're having. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you next week. Bye.